our final demo, I'll be covering working with Active Directory. So let's talk briefly about it. So what is this thing called Active Directory? Well, to be proper, the full name is Active Directory Domain Services, or ADDS. ADDS is a directory service responsible for centrally organizing, managing, administering, and locating resources on your network. It's installed on a Windows Server product. These resources could include files, folders, printers, users and groups, computers, and much more. A domain provides an administrative boundary for organizations to centrally manage these resources. These resources we often refer to as objects. In our scenario, the domain is wiredbraincoffee.priv. Most organizations use Active Directory to manage their environments, so it's important you know how to work with this information contained within an AD structure. So in this demo, I'll show you how to find information about Active Directory objects, including working with users, group membership, and also computer information. If you recall, in a previous module, I covered the Active Directory Administrative Center in Windows Server 2012, and I showed you how it can be used to view and create AD objects. So let's take a look at one of these objects before we jump into PowerShell. So we see here we have Amanda Taylor, and I'm going to double click on her user account, and you see it brings up all of the attributes for that user. And each one of these, first name, middle initials, last name, office, email, these are all properties that are associated with Amanda's account. So when I'm using PowerShell and I'm grabbing that user account, the output that comes from the command that's part of the object includes all of these properties. So I can grab this information using PowerShell. So this is a really powerful tool when I'm working with it. All of the different objects in Active Directory have sets of attributes that are applied to them. User counts have the most because there's the most information for them. So let's jump into taking a look at PowerShell. So we'll click out of here, close this up, and we're open up our Windows PowerShell as a standard user. A common task for help desk and support pros is viewing information on a user's account. In our first example, Jacob Garcia cannot log into his account, so you'll want to view his user object info to see what could be the problem. It could be locked out from password attempts, or it could be disabled. So we'll check into that. So we're going to use our favorite alias GCM, and we'll look for commands related to user. So you see it brings up a number of users. So down in the commandlets, we see a get-AD user. So I'm going to take a look at the help for get-AD user. And you see that this allows us to get one or more Active Directory users. So we'll go ahead and click out of that. And we'll do a help get-AD user -examples. And this will give us an idea of how we actually look for users. So we see down in example 3, we have a get-AD user, and then we put in the -identity to view the user account. And we see we use a -properties with a wildcard. So this will allow us to view all of the properties. So that's the option that we're going to utilize. So I'm going to do a get-AD user. Put in the identity, J. Garcia. Let's just take a look at it without the -properties. Notice that it brings back a subset of the properties that are available. Notice a lot of the things that we saw previously in the GUI aren't here because they're hidden. That's why we put the -properties in there, because that'll allow us to be able to see all of the properties. So let's do /more with that. And that allows us to go through that. So we can see all of the different properties that are associated with it. So we see here, locked out is equal false. So we know that the count is not locked out. So we'll go to the bottom here. And so that's how we can view information using the get-AD user. Another tool we can use is a search-AD account, which allows us to look for different pieces of property information on accounts. So we can put a locked out, select name. So what this is going to do is it's going to search for all the locked out accounts and then filter those by select name. So we see there's no locked out accounts in the environment. So let's try that again to see if maybe the problem is related to the account being disabled. So put in account disabled. Again, we'll just select the name because we just want a list of names. So there we go. We see that Jacob Garcia, his account is disabled. So in this case, if I had permissions, which I don't, to unlock accounts, I would go ahead and unlock that. Otherwise, in this case, I'm going to escalate this up to a member of my team that would be able to unlock this. So along these same lines, we can look at computer information using get-AD computer. So if I type in get-AD computer, put in a filter for everything, you see it brings back all of our computer names. So we want to look at Client 02 because we want to determine what operating system is running on Client 02. So we'll do get-AD computer, and then we'll put in the identity of Client 02. Notice it brings back a subset. So like we saw with the get-AD user. So what we need to do is we need to add the dash properties and the wildcard in there to view all of the pieces of information. So if we pipe that into more, it allows us to step through and we can see all of the pieces of information that are associated with this computer account. So we see up here, we have the operating system, Windows 8.1 Enterprise. It would also have hotfixes, service packs that are in there, and then it has the system version number as well. So that's an easy way to get that information using PowerShell and querying Active Directory. So another common task is to view group membership. Administrators use Active Directory groups to provide users access to resources on a network. Sometimes you'll receive incidents where a user cannot access a resource, so the first thing to do is to see if they have permissions. In this case, we have a folder on our shared drive that is available to all of the users in the marketing users group. Amanda Taylor is not able to access a folder, so I need to view the membership for marketing users group to see if she's a member of that group. So if I do a get-command and search for commands related to groups, we see we've got a couple at the top, get-AD group and get-AD group member. So those are the ones that we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to put in help, get-AD group. We're going to go right to examples, and we'll see it tells us right in the sample one how to get the group information for a specific identity. So if I just want to view all of the groups that are in my Active Directory, I can do a get-AD group. And then because filter is required here, required parameter, it prompts me for that. And you see it goes through and we see we have all of our different groups that are available here. So I'm going to break out of that. So if I just want to find the ones that are related to marketing that have MKTG in the title, but I'm not sure exactly the full name of the group, what I can do is I can filter for that. So I can do a get-AD group, and I can put in the filter to grab all, and then I can do a where the name is like marketing. So you see that brings back a couple of options for me. So we see down here we have one with the name of marketing users. So another way to do that is I can actually go in and I can do a get-AD group, and I can apply a filter without a pipe. So if I put in a curly brace, I couldn't put a name, is like, marketing again, and squiggly. Now it gives us that name and just that option. So this is a great way, and it's commonly known as filtering left, formatting right. So you filter the closest to the command. Because Active Directory has so much information, it's better to filter at the initial command level so that this will speed up and make more efficient searches for you. So now I need to use the get-80 group member to view my membership. So I put in get-80 group member, put in the identity, which we just found out is marketing users. And I want to just select the names of the people that are in that group. And notice it brings back me all the members of that group. So we see that Amanda Taylor isn't in there. So what I would do is I'd want to add her to the group using the add 80 group member. If I hit enter, this will allow me to work interactively. So I can put in marketing, users, and I know that her account name is A. Taylor. We put that in. Insufficient access rights to perform operations. That's because I can read Active Directory objects, but I can't actually work with it. So I would need to either escalate this, but since I actually have the ability to run this administrator, I can put in my admin account and I can run that same command, 80 group member, put in the identity, A. Taylor. And if we go back here and we go to get the members, we see that Amanda Taylor has been added in. So that's how you would work with groups within Active Directory. And the last thing we're going to take a look at is another look at filtering in AD. We can use filtering to find specific information we're looking for in AD. In this instance, I've been asked to find all of the users in our company that are part of marketing and also work out of the Seattle branch. Through the GUI, this might take you a while to do. In PowerShell, it's actually quite simple. So what we can do is we can do a get-80 user, and if we do a filter for everything, and then we put in the properties, put that into get member and more. Oh, I forgot to put the wildcard in properties. You see, this will now list out for us all of those same properties we saw before. So notice there's department, city was at the top there. So we saw all of these previously. So that wildcard with the dash properties gives us access to that. So to find all the users that are in Seattle and marketing, I simply do a get-80 user, and we're going to put in the property that we're looking for, which is the name, city, and department. And then we're going to do a dash filter. We're going to put the curly braces, and we're going to do a filter like we did before. I'm going to filter on the department where that's equal to marketing and dash and, which allows me to have two pieces for this equation that I'm doing, so that it's going to look for all user accounts that are both in marketing and in Seattle. You can use dash or if you want to do that as well. So a lot of different things you can do with that. And then we'll put in city dash equals Seattle, close curly brace. And then we're gonna do a filter table. And I just want to see the SAM account name, the city, and the department. And we're gonna auto size that just so we get a nice view. So there we go. So we got our nice list. We see we've got 4 employees that are located in Seattle that are part of marketing. And then if I want to send that to my boss, what I can simply do, I can simply send that out to a file, call it Seattle Marketing.txt. If I open that up in Notepad, there we go. So then I can provide that to my boss. So that's a quick and easy way to filter. So that's working with Active Directory objects with PowerShell. If you need a bit more information on AD, check out my Windows Server Administration Fundamentals Part 2 course on Pluralsight.com. I have 2 modules, Introduction to Active Directory and AD Objects and Group Policy, that will provide you an excellent foundation for Active Directory.